Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Overanalyst here, and today I am going to be talking about Black Clover chapters 300-ish to about 305. It's been a while since I've done a Black Clover reaction review type deal, and so I figured that I would binge the chapters I haven't talked about and talk about them. So, when we last left off, Noelle was fighting Megicula, and Megicula had taken over Lilliputica, and Asta had just came in saving the day. And so, they're basically between 300 and 303 um, is that conclusion of that fight with Megicula. And I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. Honestly, I was kind of underwhelmed with that fight. I don't exactly know what happened. It was kind of weird and all over the place. We get, of course, the flashback with Megicula going after Asier and cursing Asier, wanting her to improve, and instead Asier got weak, and then she gave birth. Well, she had already given birth to Noelle, and basically that whole incident made Nozel extremely resent Megicula because he couldn't even say her name. He couldn't tell anyone what had happened. And so, as a way to protect Noelle, he started, treating her terribly, and he started feeling bad about that. And literally in the middle of this fight, he comes in to save Noelle because she's all burnt out. And together, he and Noelle somehow defeat Megicula. Like I said, the way they do it is kind of unclear. I have no idea what's going on in this chapter. The art is just kind of all over the place, in my personal opinion. So, really hard to tell, but they managed to defeat Megicula, and it's, yay, victory. And so, I know they're making a Black Clover movie, and I'm thinking the movie's going to cover this entire arc. That's my guess. And if that's the case, I think they'll do a much better job with this because, like I said, they've kind of hyped up Megicula, and overall it just feels like such an underwhelming antagonist. I'm not going to lie. Of the three of the Dark Triad, she is probably the one that I care the least about, which is sad because she had so much hype behind her. She is super powerful with the whole blood magic deal, but in the end, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, how did they defeat her? And that's kind of my biggest issue, is that I have a hard time, I look at the panels and I literally scan them back and forth several times, what is going on? And I can't figure it out. And so, if you can comment down in the comment section down below, it's no, they did this, they did that. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. That's my little spiel about Megicula. You can sue me. So, the chapters I really want to talk about are the ones that came out this week and last week, which involves the battle between Yuno and Longris versus Dante. And this battle is hype. I'm loving this, mainly because we get to see Longris use his Mana Zone ability. Basically, what happens is that Dante created this room, and he's like, no one can escape this room, and no one can fight back unless they have equal magic. And well, Yuno has equal magic because he's just loved by mana, because he's got the 5-leaf clover. And the other weakness is spatial magic users, because reasons. And it just so happens that we have Longris, who can create a room inside of a room. That's kind of what happened. Even though I'm a little bit confused, because Longris's ability usually destroys things, and yet he was kind of able to make a room. Maybe that the whole room thing, I think actually what really happened was that he made a sphere in front of him, and then any attacks that were initially going to attack him and kill him went through the sphere and they disintegrated. I think that's kind of what happened, because like I said, Longus is a spatial user, but his spatial magic is more offensive, while, we've got Finral, who has more of a defensive, more utility-based spatial magic. So that's just kind of my thing. However, we did get a flashback for Dante in this most recent chapter, and I'm actually super stoked with it. I think they may have revealed Asta's father. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not 100%. Yeah, I'm not 100% certain. Mainly because the character they introduced, his name is Alan. He's a fire user, and he goes and tries to support Dante when Dante was a kid. And my thing with Alan is that he looks very much like Asta. But it could also just be that manga artists are just kind of reusing the same facial structure, because he also kind of looked like Noel in a way. And so I'm on the fence. I think it could very much be like Asta's father, except I have no idea how Alan would hook up with Asta's mother. I'm blinking on her name right now. It's been a while. So yeah, why can't I remember her name? Okay, well, you can tell me in the comment section down below. So it's real interesting. If it's possible, I'd like to see that happen, but I think it's unlikely. But I've got that little sliver of hope where I'm like, maybe he is Asta's father, maybe. And that was kind of the biggest takeaway. That and just the fact that for some reason the Spade Kingdom was like harboring demons. Like they were literally raising people to be wielders of demons. And initially Dante that was kind of his family. And then he was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to join the army and be with Alan. And that's super cool. And then they were fighting against a devil. And basically, in order to kill the devil, Dante had to shoot like bones, like he's got that bone magic. He basically penetrated Alan, who was going on the offensive with like his flaming sword. He has like this flaming sword attack, which looks really cool. Right about to hit the devil, and to make sure that the devil dies, Alan like Dante pierced Alan with his bone magic, going through him and then piercing the devil as well. It's a very interesting attack, but basically Dante killed his best friend in order to kill the devil. So that's really cool, and I do like that flashback. I think I would prefer if Dante had a longer flashback. He is kind of the main villain of the arc, I think. Although I feel like it's kind of hinting like another guy. There might be a fourth person, because there are 4 members that are supposed to be in possession of demons. At least that's been referenced in this chapter. So there might be a 4th one, actually, that just hasn't been revealed yet. But I'm on the fence. Also, his devil's name is Beelzebub. Take that as you will. Which, that was just another name for Lucifer. Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? So, overall, my thoughts on this arc, I've got quite mixed feelings about it, honestly. Like, I think the setup is fantastic, and, like, Magnus' fight, I think, has been my favorite so far, just because he's the epitome of the underdog, and he still found a way, after training and studying and outsmarting his opponent, to be able to defeat him. So I love that Magna fight. I'm on the fence with Dante. I think if he gets defeated by Yuno this easily, I think that would also be an underwhelming fight. Megicula wasn't an easy kill. I will say that. She wasn't an easy kill. I just had a hard time following what her kill was. So I think hers would just improve with the animation. Like if I'm seeing it live on TV, or, and I'm hearing the music in the background that just pumps up the fight, and I can physically see the color change, like the differences in color, that would help. because like even Luck showed up and Gaja showed up, and I forgot that Mimosa showed up at the end to heal Gaja and Charlotte and Rill because they all passed out, and Gaja was going to die, and no one dies in Black Clover, which is actually kind of unfortunate. I think this would have been a great moment for Gaja to die, and it just didn't happen because Mimosa was there, which makes me sad a little bit. Honestly, I would love to see a character arc from Mimosa because she hasn't been much of a character at all, where she couldn't save someone. Gaja would have been a perfect example. And, you know, see how she struggles with that, because for right now, she's always been there at the right time. And she's always been able to heal everyone, and then it's all like, okay, everyone's ready to go, yay, no battle wounds or whatnot. And I love her. I love her as a character. She has a lot of potential. I think this would even help her character even more if they threw some kind of adversity at her, because really, she doesn't have any adversity. If you think about it, you had Noelle, who had struggled with her siblings. We had Vanessa, who grew up in the witch's forest and was pretty much caged in a while. And then we have Mimosa, who's got an annoying cousin? Yeah. Like, I will admit, the female characters in Black Clover are some of the best written female characters ever. And there are times when Mimosa really shines. Really does. And I'm not trying to diss on her healing power, because I love the fact that she's a healer. I love that completely. I'm going more for the character aspect, where in the beginning, her character development was she was pretty much shy. She wasn't very confrontational, and then as she met Asta, she became more and more confrontational. And I love that. But that's it. We haven't had anything else from her, and I think it would really improve her character to throw original plans where it's like, you weren't there in time to save someone, or your magic just wasn't strong enough to save someone. Because at this point, her magic just seems so OP that she can save anyone. And I'm on the fence with that. Like, she just seems way too OP. So, that's kind of been my ramble against Mimosa, and just kind of the current status of Black Clover. Kind of why I haven't been really doing the Black Clover reviews as often as I do the One Piece. Because One Piece, like, a new chapter drops and it's just filled with everything. Whereas Black Clover, the pacing is a lot slower, I've noticed. You know, it's taking a lot longer to defeat Megicula. Now, I do appreciate the fact that with Megicula, it took Rill, Charlotte, Asta, Noelle, Gaja to show up and kill him. And then Silva. Like, it took 6 people to kill her. Like, I appreciate the living hell out of that. Mostly after she crucified Rill and Charlotte. That was an intense scene. I love that. So, like I said, the setup to Megicula was wonderful. I loved the setup, and for the most part, I love the delivery. It's just the ending to that fight that I'm just like, almost. You almost had me. But just the way that it's drawn, like, we get some really cool poses from Noelle and from Nozel. But I don't really see how they managed to defeat Megicula. So, that's been my ramble. You can comment down below how wrong I am, or maybe you see something else that you want to complain about. You know, we could just have a whole complain fest. I don't know. I love Black Clover. Don't get me wrong. Black Clover is one of my top 5 shonen. Like, I love it to death. But I feel like it's fair for me to be able to, like, point out some character flaws, or some things that I think the story can improve on. But, like I said, that's just my personal opinion. What do you guys think? Anyways, I'm the Overanalyst, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.